Okay, yeah. Good evening, everyone. So, welcome to our session. So, we can start it now. So, all of you practice Minikube setup. And how about pods and replica set? How many of you practice lather session? Raise your hands. Okay, only few. What about remaining? If you don't practice, you don't get DevOps. So it will take a couple of minutes to set it up. So in the meanwhile, let's recap the last session once. So first of all, why we are using Kubernetes? Okay. Okay. Fine. First of all, we have some limitation on Docker some. That is the reason we came the Kubernetes. So it's an open source container tool and a container orchestration tool which can automate a lot of works. Initially, it was developed by Google, but later they have given to the CNCF. Initial name was Borg actually. That is in the year 2014, but 15, the first version released into the market. Okay. Coming to architecture, first of all, we have the cluster. Inside cluster, will be having node. Inside node, pod. Inside pod, inside country, we are having application. So coming to the components, first component is Kubernetes master. It is going to be having the API server. Main purpose of API, communication. etcd, database of the cluster. Third one, workout scheduler. Select the worker node to place the pod. And fourth one, controller. Kubernetes will have a lot of things to control. Coming to workload, kubelet. Kubelet is an agent. It will be informing all activities to the master, and it is responsible to create the containers and pods in the worker node. Kubeproxy deals with the networking, and pod is nothing but a group of containers. And what is the node point I said here? All components of a cluster will be created as a pod. Okay. So coming to cluster type, we use self and cloud based. So in self, Minikube, KubeADM, and KOps will be there. So today I'll tell Minikube one more time. But from Tuesday, I'm gonna teach you KOps. Okay. So Minikube is a single node tool which we are using for developing and testing activities. But for production, we don't use it in real time. Why? Because you have only single node. In the single node, you have everything. What is the requirement? Two CPUs, 2 GB of RAM, 20 GB of EBS volume, connection, and a container tool like Docker. So kubectl is the command line tool. So we want to execute commands, we need to use kubectl. So set up the cluster. I think cluster is ready now. Yeah, it's still ready. Coming to pod, what is the meaning of pod? It's a group of containers, right? So it's a group of containers. Like simply, it is the smallest unit of deployment in Kubernetes. So these are ephemeral. That means short living objects. Mostly we create one container inside single pod. But if you want, you can expand. Whenever you create two containers in the same pod, they can share the resource like volume, memory, and even they can share the network also. How many types we can create the pod, sir? First one, imperative means. Second one, declarative means manifest file, right? So what are the mandatory fields in manifest file? API version, kind, metadata, spec. Without these four, we cannot able to create. What is the limitation of the pod, sir? Pod limitation. If you delete the pod, you can't restore. For that purpose, what we are creating? Replicas are nothing but copies of the same pod. If you delete a pod, it is going to recreate automatically. So what is the label main purpose? Is it to assign unique value for all the pods? Why? Because if I want to manage them as single unit, I need to make them as together. For that purpose, I'm applying the label, and selector is to select the pods with same label. So that's it. And what is a template in replica set? What is a template? What is a template? In last class, I clearly said what is the meaning of template. What you are doing on the lab and what you are practicing, I'm not sure. If you do like that, how can you get the jobs? Online, what is the meaning of template? Same configuration for all the pods. Let's create a replica set. Replica set got created. What is the command to list the replica set? Kubectl get rs. Replica set will create the pods. What is the command to list the pods? If you delete them, it is going to recreate. Command to delete the pod. Kubectl pod. This pod. So the pod is deleted. Automatically is recreating or not, sir? Recreating done or not? So how it is done? By using the replica set, right? But sir, replica set, can we scale the replica set? Have I shown you scaling or not? Kubectl, tell me the command. Kubectl, rs slash you need to put. What is the name of the replica set? Movies rs hyphen replicas is equal to 10. What is telling? What is the name of replica set? Swiggy rs. Here what I have given? It is not taking. That's the reason. Okay. I mean, like replica set name can be anything, but the command won't change. Scale down. With the command kubectl get PO. Getting the ports like that. So if you want to scale down, same command, give the less number. Scale down. Which port is going to delete first? Lastly created port. Now if you go and see, give the command kubectl get PO. You are having 3 ports, right? What is the limitation of replica set? You cannot update the application. For example, see, give the command for last session, which replica set I have given for you. And this is your last class, right? I'll take this replica set. Give me 1 second. Why? Because you'll maintain one replica set for your clarity. Kubectl delete -f. That means it is going to delete the replica set from the file. Why? Because now I use the different code. Na? So let me remove this one. So now give our code. Sir, what is the issue with this replica set? You know, it won't update the image. -frs. This is the new replica set. So give the command kubectl describe rs. That means it is going to describe the replica set. Even though if you don't give name, it will describe the replica set. Currently for this replica set, what is the image? Kubectl describe pod. If you go here, for all the pods, you will be having same image or not, sir? Raham Sheikh? Just give the command grep-i image. That is going to filter the image. For each and everything, here you are seeing image Raham Sheikh only. Raham Sheikh movies pay, Raham Sheikh movies pay, Raham Sheikh. If I want to update, it is my version 1, for example. Movies is version 1. If I want to go to version 2 of train, it won't do it. I'll show you practically. See. There is a command called kubectl edit replica set. What is your replica set name? What's your replica set name? You can see it here, right? This one. Okay, movies. Here if you go and at the container part, are you seeing the image here in the container part? Instead of movies pay, can I put train pay now? If I put train pay, if I save this one, it won't replicate to the pods. That means once you create a pod, you cannot change the configuration, the replica set. It won't update the images. It won't do anything. If you want me to show, kubectl describe rs. In the replica set, it is showing train pay, right? But if you give the command kubectl describe pod and search for image, image also need to come with train, right? But image is still having movies. Disadvantage or not, sir? That means whenever you are using replica set, with the help of replica set, we cannot update the image. It is not possible. It will create the exact copy of the existing pod. But if you try to change the configuration of the pod, it won't replicate to the other pods. This is the limitation. For that purpose, in real time, we don't use replica set. We use deployment for it. What we use? kubectl delete -f file name, just to give file name. That means with the help of kubectl command, I'm deleting the resource from a file. From which file I'm deleting the resource? Already using that file, you create some resource now. It is going to delete now. It's gone now. Now VIM, go to here. Sir, in this time, instead of replica set, I'm gonna use a concept called deployment. What I'm gonna use? Deployment. See. Just only change this one. Don't change anything. Only this one. Okay. Change it. Let's understand what is a deployment now. So deployment is nothing but it's a higher level of Kubernetes object. Whenever you create deployment, deployment can create the replica set. It will create the pods. We can update the application, sir. In deployment, if you update the image, right, pods will get the new image. And it's a higher level of Kubernetes object. In replica set, what is the limitation? We cannot update the application. Image means application only. But in a deployment, we can update the application. If you create deployment, deployment will create the replica set, and replica set will be created by the pods. Now go and see here. Give the command kubectl create -f deployment.yml. I mean, like, sorry, file name is same only, rs.yml. Don't worry about the file name. File name you can put anything. Is deployment created? Kubectl get deploy. Are you seeing deployment is created? After deployment, you can see the replica set. Replica set got created after deployment. After this one, what will create now? Are you seeing pods got created? Now tell me which command do I need to get the complete information of deployment? Kubectl describe deployment. Which deployment? Name of the deployment you can give movies, or even though if you don't give, it will take the movies deployment. Sorry. For movies here, which current image you are using? Movies pay. Image is movie space, sir. If I try to change this one, will it change now? But before that, try to check the pods is having which image. That is very important. What is the command to get the complete information of pod? Get PO. And if I want to filter image, grep image. What is telling? Showing anything? See the pods first of all. Currently pods is running. Give the command grep -i image. Why you are not getting this one, sir? Pods are running, right? Pods are running, but why it is not showing the image? Why? Because you are listing the pods. Kubectl get pod. In the pod, are you seeing any image here? If you want to get the image, you need to use kubectl describe, na? But what you are using? Forget, you won't get anything. Okay? You need to use here describe. This point you need to understand. So all the pods is having movies only, right? Movies, movies, movies. Clear now? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this movies pay and I'm gonna add train pay to the deployment. How to edit the deployment? Kubectl edit. What you are editing? Deployment. What is the name of the deployment? Movies. Hit enter. Now here, instead of Raham Sheikh movies pay, I'm gonna put Raham Sheikh train pay. What I'm gonna put? Raham Sheikh train pay. Okay, but before that, what I'll do? I'll show you a command here. Take one more tab and try to see these commands. I'll tell you, Sunil, how to see. You can see it on the configuration directly. In the configuration file, in specification, you write only one container. That means you can get only one container. So I'm taking second terminal to show you lively how the deployment is going to happen in Kubernetes. Okay. The second terminal I'm taking, give the command sudo -i. Okay. Before I update that one, give the command kubectl get PO. It is going to show me the list of pods. But here I put -watch command. Which command? That means I'm gonna see the pods now lively. Take the multi-execution tab. I'm gonna comment this one. Okay, I'm gonna comment this one. And here, which image I put now? Save it now. Automatically, see, it is going to be terminating. Are you seeing pods are terminating and new pods are creating? Check it here. Pod got terminated. Pod got terminated, and here also pod got terminated. Now I'll show you what will happen behind the scenes. Go here. Give the command kubectl describe pod grep-i image. Now, which image you want to see? Trainer movies. If you go and see, for each and everything, are you seeing train here? Are you seeing train here? Are you seeing train here? That means completely movies containers got replaced by train containers. That means have you updated the image or not, sir? This is how Kubernetes deployment will work now. I'll show you like, let me draw the diagram for you. Paint. See. It is the pod 1. It is the pod 2. It is the pod 3. All of these are having movies. What these are having? Movies. Now what I'll do is I'll try to create new pods. So I'm taking some new color. Whenever you update the deployment, what will happen now? One old pod will be deleted. It is gonna create one new pod. Okay. And it will create the second new pod and it is going to delete the second old pod. It is going to create the third new pod and delete the third old pod. Like this, all the old pods are going to replace by the new pods with new image. With which image? Now if you go and see, each and every pod will have only new image, sir. Kubectl describe pod grep-i image. You will be having all the new images or not, sir? This is what we can call as rolling updates. By default, Kubernetes will follow the rolling update strategy. Which one? That means whenever you update the deployment, right, what will happen? No, first of all, it will create the new pod. Then it is going to terminate the old pod. It will create second new pod. It is going to terminate the second old pod. It is going to create the third new pod. It is going to delete the third old pod. Like this, every pod is going to replace. So this is how the deployment is going to work. Now again from the train to, can I go to DTH? Can you do it then? Now tell me the process. How to edit, sir? Kubectl edit. I'm editing what? Deploy. What is the movie? What is the deployment here? Movies. So here I want to see. Instead of image, train, what I'm gonna put now? Okay, but before save this one, I'll go for multi-execution mode again. Why? Because I want to show it lively for you. Okay. Control C. Now what I'll do? Go here, give the command kubectl watch pod. Seeing live 3 pods now. Okay. So now the moment if I go here and if I save this one, automatically these pods from running status to it will go to terminate and automatically new pods will be created. See, I think all of you are able to see that one, right? Okay. So now see, I'm executing this one, hit enter. Are you seeing? First of all, it is creating the new pod, then it is terminating. Are you understanding the scenes here? See, what is happening is the moment if I run this command, first of all, it is creating the pod, creating it, running it, and it is terminating one. And second container is running, second pod is running, terminating the second pod. And the third pod is running. Third pod got terminated. So this is how the Kubernetes will work, sir. Again, see. From here, these are my old pods. What these are? Old pods. Whenever a new pod is running, old pod got terminated. You see termination here. Second pod is running. Second old pod got terminated. Third new pod is running. Third old pod got. This is how Kubernetes will do the deployment in general. Okay. This is which strategy we can call it as? Rolling updates. What we can call as? Now, when compared with replicas, it is deployment good or not, sir? Why it is good? It can update the. So now have you got the clarity? First of all, pod. If you delete a single pod, you cannot recreate. For that purpose, what we are using? Replica set. What is the limitation of replica set? You can't update it, but you can recreate the pod. Then we came to deployment. In deployment, you can update the application, and if you delete one pod, automatically it is going to recreate again. If you create deployment, deployment will create the pod. Sorry, it will create the replica set. Replica set will create the pod. So in real time, we don't use pods, we don't use replica sets. What we use directly? Is it clear for all of you now? Okay, online. What about you? Is the concept of deployment clear for all of you? Can you please confirm me once? Okay. Sir, if I want to scale the deployment, can you tell me the command? Currently, how many pods you are having? 3 only, right? Kubectl, scale, was scaling deployment. What is the name of the deployment? Movies. Hyphen, hyphen. Are you seeing new pods now? Seeing or not? So this is the way how it is going to create for you, sir. You want to scale down, again, same command. Give some lesser values. It will be scaled down automatically, like that. And if I want to delete the replica set, kubectl delete, sorry, deployment I want to delete, kubectl delete deploy. What is the deployment name here? It got deleted. Now you don't have anything here. So this is the concept of pod, replica set, and deployment. Is it clear for all of you know? So next concept is, again, I'll create the same things here, but I want to show you a thing called this one, metric server. There is a concept called metric server. What is the main purpose of metric server, you know? For example, if you want to see the CPU utilization and memory utilization of a pod, you can install metric server. What we can install? See, it is the link from where you can download the metric server. Copy this one. But before that, create some pods here. Like that means I can create the deployment directly. Why? Because deployment will create pods or not, sir? Kubectl create -f. Now you'll get some pods. Now I want to see how much of CPU and how much of memory is utilizing by these pods. What I can do, I'll copy paste it. Is it done now? Now metric server got downloaded. If you run that single one, your metric server will be enabled now. Next here, what I'm gonna do is, if you go in, if you see Minikube add-on, enable metric server. By default, for Minikube, metric server will be disabled. Only for Minikube, metric server will be, if you run Minikube add-on, enable metric server. So this is going to start the metric server now. Copy this. It's enabled now. Now don't do anything. Give the command kubectl top PO. Top means to check the, you know, already in Docker you have seen top command or not, sir? To check the process. But here we use top command to check the metrics. Currently, this first pod is using 2 milli-core CPUs. How much? And how much of RAM it is using? 5. And these also using 1 milli-core CPU. And how much of RAM? These 1 milli-core CPU and how much of RAM? 5 MB. Clear or not, sir? So by using the metric server, you can able to see the You're able to see the CPU utilization, memory utilization of a pods. And here if you see hyphen F and watch, it won't come. Why? Because it won't show like this, okay? Like that, sir. And I'll tell about nodes also. For example, if you want to see how much of CPU and how much of memory utilizing by the worker nodes, give the command kubectl top nodes also. Currently, are we having any nodes here? No. Whenever I create multi-node cluster, I'll show you how to monitor the nodes also. But here, as of now, you are seeing the metrics of CPU and memory of utilization of what? Ports. And see here, metric server used to collect the resource utilization for each node and each content inside the cluster. The metrics collected include CPU usage, memory usage, and file system usage. So metric server main purpose is basically if you install metric server, now what will happen? I'll tell you. Whenever I download this metric server from here, it will create as a deployment. Metric server will be created as a deployment. Okay. And metric server we use mostly for auto scaling. For which purpose use metric sir? Auto scaling. And collecting metric for every 15 seconds. That means for every 15 seconds, the metric server is going to give the data for us. For how many seconds? 15 seconds. And resource efficiency using 1 millicore CPU. That means this metric server, to install the metric server, you need to have 1 milli CPU core and 2 MB of RAM. What is the meaning of 1 milli? Milli means 10 power 3. That is called as milli. Okay. So this metric server need at least 1 milli core CPU and 2 MB of RAM in our cluster. Otherwise, it won't create. And finally, this metric server we can install up to how many nodes, sir? 5,000 nodes inside a cluster. So this is what the metric server. Main purpose is to see the utilization of CPU and memory of a pods. But if you download metric server, it is going to run as a deployment in cluster. Basically used for auto scaling here. And what is the requirement for it? You need 1 milli CPU and 2 MB of memory. And up to supportable up to how many nodes, sir? 5,000. So this is the command to install. This is the command to add on. And remember, for Minikube only you will add on, sir. But for other nodes, like other clusters, like COPS, CubeADM, no need to run this command. It is only for Minikube. Is it clear now? Fine. Next concept is going to be cube color. Currently, you are getting the outputs on black and white, right? But if you run this script cube color, you will get the output on colored format. Are you seeing this one? Give the command kubectl get pod. By using kubectl, I am using cube color. Instead of kubectl, what I am using? If you run cube color get pod, automatically you will get the pods on the color format. Okay. Cube color is nothing but it will apply colors for our terminals. Okay. If you want to see the output on colored format, you can use the command cube color. Is it clear for all of you now? So deployment done, metric server done, and also we have done cube color. Fine. So next one is going to be namespaces. Just before going to namespace, so is the concept clear for all of you till now? Or any doubts you are having? Online, what about you? Is the concept clear for all of you? Can you please confirm? Okay, fine. Give me a second. Fine. So now we are going to see the concept called namespaces. What is the name of the concept? First of all, what is the meaning of namespace? I'll explain it very clearly. See, in real time, what happened? First of all, you will deploy the code on developing environment. Which environment? After developing, you will go for testing environment. After testing, you will go for UAT. You are forgetting everything or what? And after that, you are going for what you are discussing? Is everything clear for you? If your architecture is monolithic, you will be having servers like this: dev server, QA, UAT. But if you go for microservice, you don't have servers. You will have only one cluster. What you will have? That means every developer, every tester, every DevOps engineer, everything need to be work on single cluster only. Let's take this one. In our case, I'm taking this one. A single cluster. In the single cluster only, developers need to work, testers need to work, as well as UAT environment will be here. And finally, prod environment also need to be here only, sir. That means what we are going to do, we are going to divide the cluster here. What we are going to do? Why? Because multiple teams want to work inside single cluster. I cannot give access for all. For example, in real time, for developers, do we give production server access? For tester, can we give production access? No. Developer will be working on developing server. We give access for only them. Testing team will be working on testing server. We will give access for only them. So, but when it comes to microservice architecture, if we have the cluster, this cluster we are going to divide for multiple teammates. Why? Because if all teams work on the cluster, then our work is going to complete or not, sir? Correct or not? So to divide the cluster for multiple teams, we are going to use the concept called namespace. Which concept? Now developer will be working on developing environment only. He won't come to UAT environment. And he won't come to QA environment, and he won't go to production. Why? Because I separate his space. To explain this concept, the best example is going to be our home. Cluster is nothing but our home, and namespace is nothing but our. Sir, in our home, if we are having three rooms, one is our room, one is our sibling room, one is our parents' room. Can I see what is happening on my sibling room? No, right? And can my sibling see like what is happening on my room? No. Why? Because we are having walls. That walls is isolating from one room to another room for connection. Correct or not, sir? Same like what is happening, in the cluster, we will be having multiple teams. One team cannot see work of other team. For that purpose, we will create the namespace. If you create the namespace, that team cannot see what is happening with other team. That is what we can call as isolation. Isolation means what? Separation. What is the meaning of isolation? So namespace means it is used to divide the cluster for multiple teams on real time. It is used to isolate the environment. So the best example cluster is nothing but our house, and namespace is nothing but our each namespace is isolated. That means one namespace is fixed. Okay. It cannot be seen to other namespace. You cannot see the work of other namespace. For example, if you are on room 1, you cannot able to see room 2, what is happening. And if you are room 2, you cannot able to see room 3. Here also, for example, if I am on namespace 1, I cannot access the object from one namespace to another namespace. For example, see, in developing, I have the pod, sir. This pod cannot be able to access by QA teammates. And in production, I have one pod. This pod cannot be able to access by QA, development, and UAT. If you create a pod on one namespace, that will store on that namespace only. It cannot be accessed by other people in the cluster. Is the concept clear? If I know? That's it. So now coming to the namespace type, guys, remember here, by default, Kubernetes will be having 4 namespaces. How many namespaces? Let's see what is the default namespace in Kubernetes. If you go and see, if we run kubectl get ns, shortcut for namespace is, it will come on black and white. No, sir, if you run cube color instead of kubectl, you will get the output on colored. That is the difference. Okay, don't worry about this one. Now see, I'll ask you a question, sir. For pods, PO is the shortcut. For namespace, NS is the shortcut. For replica, RS is the shortcut. And for pod, what is API version? V1. And for replica set, app/V1. For deployment, app/V1. But for namespace, again, version is V1 only, API version. How these values are coming means there is a command called kubectl or kubecolor. Anything is fine. API resources. If we go here, if we hit enter, now see. For example, for replica set shortcut is RS, and you need to write in kind app/V1. See here, app/V1. Okay, and the kind I need to write replica set here, R and S will be capital. Next for deployment, here app/V1, and in kind I need to put deployment. For pod, it will be PO. Are you seeing this one? API version will be V1, and in kind I need to put clear now. If you run the kubectl API resources, this will show the complete information of the resources. Is the concept clear now? Which command I need to run? Kubectl, but here I am using kubecolor for the colored output. Okay. Now see, namespace means, for example, whenever you are seeing namespace true, that will work inside that namespace only. If you go for see here, are you seeing pod here? For pod namespace is true. That means if you create the pod in one namespace, it will stick to that namespace only. It cannot travel to other namespace. Okay. And even deployment also. If you create it in one namespace, it cannot go for other namespace. Remember this point. So now, which command will give you the shortcut and everything about your Kubernetes resource? Kubectl API-resources. Write this command, all of you, first of all. Everyone. Kubectl API-resources. Clear now? So, kubectl or kubecolor get NS. By default, how many namespaces you are having? Remember, whenever you create the cluster, these 4 namespaces will come with by default. If your cluster is ready, this will come by default. Okay. First one is default namespace. Which one? That means whenever you create any object in Kubernetes, it will come on the default namespace only. It will come inside default namespace. For example, if I create a pod, it will come to default namespace. Okay. Second one, kube node list. That means, for example, see, you have the node 1, you have the node 2. If you take the pod 1 from one node to another node, so these kind of objects will be going for kube node list. That means if you borrow a pod from one namespace to another. Third one, kube public. That means, sir, I have the namespace 1, I have the namespace 2, and I have the namespace 3. If I create a pod 1, can it be accessed for namespace 2 and namespace 3? No. But I want to create a pod for namespace 1, namespace 2, namespace 3. So I can create the pod on cube public. If you create the pod on cube public, everybody can able to access that pod. Point clear, no? First three again one more time. First of all, default. That means whenever you create any objects in Kubernetes, it will come for default. Kube node list means if you take one resource from one worker node to another worker node, that will store on kube node list. Third one, kube public. What is kube public? Hmm? It is common for all. So if you want to create a pod or if you want to create a resource that can be accessible everyone in the cluster, you can create on kube public. And last one, kube system. Very, very important. Kube system means by default, Kubernetes creates some objects for itself. By default, Kubernetes will create object for. Already we discussed every architecture, every component of Kubernetes architecture is going to create like a pod, right? All this will be stored on kube system. That means Kubernetes will create some default objects for itself. So whenever it will create object for itself, those will be storing on kube system. Where it is going to store on? If you want me to show, what is the command to list the pods? Kubecat will get PO. But if I give -a means on all namespaces. So if you go and see, these three are our default namespace pods. You can see them here, right? First three. Which namespace? But remaining everything is on kube system namespace pods. For example, DNS, etcd. etcd is a Kubernetes component or not, sir? It's working like a pod. API server is a component or not? It's working like a and controller. It's like a pod. Kube proxy, kube scheduler, metric server, storage provisioner. Everything is working like a pod or not, sir? Like this. So already we discussed in the Kubernetes architecture only. What is it for you? Read this point, all of you once. In the last class, I said you this one. Oh, it's not your notes. Wait. Read this one for me. Correct or not, sir? And these pods will be storing on which namespace? Kube system, right? So kube system is for Kubernetes own pods. Clear now? That's it. Fine then. So basically, if you put -a, it will show the pods of all namespace. There is one more way also. Just put -- all namespaces. You can write -- all namespaces and you can give -a. Both output same or different? Same or not? Like that. Clear it now? Now go and see. So if you give the command kubectl get kubecolor get PO -n default. It will show me the pods of default only. -m stand for namespace. No, sir, if I want to see the pods of kube node lease, just put -n kube node lease. Now it is going to show the pods of kube node lease namespace. No, sir, if I want to see the pods of kube public, just write -n kube public. No, sir, if I want to see the pods of kube system, just give kube. Seeing now? So like this, if you want to see the pods of individual namespace, just put kubectl get pod -n. -n stand for and give the namespace. Clear now? Currently in default namespace, how many pods will be having? Right? Three only. If I create a pod, these three will not be visible for me. If you want me to show, see. How to create the new namespace? Kubectl or kubecolor. Create NS. Namespace is nothing but dev. No dev namespace got created. If you want me to show, kubectl get NS. Are you seeing dev namespace? Now I'll switch to this namespace. There is a command to switch from one namespace to another namespace. Command is kubecolor config set hyphen context. Wait, config set context current namespace is equal to dev. The moment if we give this command, kubectl or kubecolor config set context hyphen current namespace is equal to dev. That means that is going to switch from default namespace to dev. Is it done now? If we want to see currently we are on which namespace? Kubectl kubectl config view. Currently we are on which namespace? Okay. So these both are the commands which is to switch the namespace and to see the namespace. No, sir, if I want to see the namespace in shortcut, why can't we use grep here? Can I use grep namespace? Current your namespace is like instead of seeing that full content, just filter it out. Remember, you need to filter a lot of things in real time. For filtering, which command you can use? Grep, and you are using with the help of pipeline. Pipe, that is okay. It's not pipeline, we call it as pipe symbol, okay? Fine. Sir, currently I'm on dev namespace. If I give the command kubectl get pivot, can I able to see default ports here? Can I able to see default ports here? No. But if I want to see, just I need to put hyphen in default. Are you seeing default ports now? Like that. And again, if you create some ports here, you cannot able to see it on default namespace. Can we check it out? Let's create some ports randomly. I'm taking Nginx image. Currently in this namespace, how many ports you are having, sir? 3 ports. What are the names? Dev1, Dev2, Dev3. Now go to the default namespace. What is the command to go to default namespace? Tell me. Kubecolor config set context current namespace currently you go to default namespace. How to check kubecolor config view grep hyphen I namespace. Currently we are in which namespace? If I give kubectl get PO, are you able to see the ports of dev namespace? No, right? If I want to see, I need to put hyphen n dev. That means here, whenever you put hyphen n dev, then only it is coming. By default, it is showing you the ports. That means isolation providing or not, sir? Yes or not? No, sir. What I said, isolation means you cannot able to access the ports from one namespace to another namespace. Currently, I'm on which namespace? Default. Which namespace? But am I able to access the dev pods or not, sir? Basically, here we give the namespace concept correctly. But if you want to restrict the accessing of pod, you need to create the RBAC. All of you know RBAC? Where we use RBAC concept? RBAC. Jenkins. Why we use RBAC concept? To restrict the level of permission for the user. Here also in real time, by default, you can access the pods from one namespace to another namespace. Of course, it will isolate, but if you want, you can access. If you don't want to do that activity, in real time, we will create the RBAC concept. Which concept? RBAC means role-based access control. What is RBAC here? Role-based access control means, for example, see how it is going to work means, it's my cluster. It's my cluster. It is the namespace 1, the namespace 2. It's the namespace 3, for example. Whenever I have a user, for this user, I can give permission for only one namespace. That means he can't go for namespace 2 and namespace 3. How it is going to be done? First of all, I'll create a user. For this user, I'll create a role and I'll apply this role for the user. That is called as role binding. Now, in this role, I'm going to tell this user need to access only dev namespace. Which namespace? That means with this role, if you try to access test and UAT, it won't work. And I can specify this user can able to work with pods, replica set and deployment. Okay. I'll give the limits for the user. This user need to list the pod. This user need to create the pod. This user need to delete the pod. Only some list of permissions I'll give. Based upon that permissions only, he can be able to work, sir. That will happen on the real time. Already we seen in Jenkins, right? Here also same concept will be applied. Is the concept clear for you now? You go and see. This I have given very, very clearly for you here. We go and see where is job ready batch. Here. What I said here, by default, the namespace of all objects is also going to be deleted. And one more thing, for example, currently you can list the pods from one namespace to another namespace. If you want to delete, currently I'm on which namespace? If I want to delete the dev1 pod from dev namespace, it will be possible. Kubectl pod dev1 -n from which namespace? Is it gone? Now you can't see dev1 pod in dev namespace. Are you able to say? No. Or if I want to delete dev2 pod, kubectl delete dev2 from namespace of dev. Is it gone? You have only dev3 pod now. So like this, you can do. And one more thing, command to delete the namespace, kubectl delete ns. What is the namespace you want to delete? It will be gone now. Is it gone? Are you able to say dev namespace now? No. Now if you go and see what I am telling here, by deleting the namespace, all objects also going to be get deleted. In real time, use RBAC concept to restrict the access from one namespace to. So users cannot access or delete the namespace. Okay. Because of the restriction we provide, we create the roles and we use the role binding for the users. Now user can be able to work on specific resource on specific namespace with the help of which concept? RBAC concept. Okay. But as of now, remember, we can create namespace to provide isolation only, but we can't restrict the accessing from one namespace to another namespace. If you want to restrict the access the resource from one namespace to another namespace, which concept we are going to use? RBAC. What is RBAC? Role-based access control. The main purpose of RBAC is to create the roles for the users. So based upon that role and permission given that role, they can be working on the cluster. So that's the concept of RBAC, sir. Is the concept of RBAC clear for all of you? Fine. So now, if you are having any doubts or any queries in deployment, metric server and this namespace, you can ask. I'll give some time for you. Finish the doubts, okay? If your doubts is done, I'll go for the next concept. No, no. Why? Eh? Why it is enough for today? Is the concept difficult? But like comments you need to learn. Without learning comments, how can you learn the DevOps? Still, we have 25 minutes of time. That's the reason I'm giving 5 minutes of gap for you. You can ask your doubts. So remaining 20 minutes, I can cover one topic. See, I don't have any problem to stop the session. But if I stop half an hour before, almost all, it's not good. Like if someone gives a complete that Ramsar is closing the session very speedily, then what I need to do? I need to think from my end also. Na? I don't have any problem to stop the session now. If you are enough, it's fine. But some people won't accept this one. Might be anyone from you, I'm not sure. That's the reason. These concepts take some time to. Guys, remember, in the entire DevOps, Kubernetes will be so clumsy. I know. We seen Jenkins. Is Jenkins easy or difficult for you? Easy. Ansible? Very easy. And Docker? Little bit. But how about Kubernetes? Kubernetes will be same for not only your batch, for every batch it will be the same. But the thing is, I am trying to make the concepts as much as easy. Okay. Whenever I'm explaining, are you getting any doubts or concepts? First of all, tell me this one. No, but why can't you are able to take it? You have to practice more. Huh? Hmm. Okay. That's what I'm telling, right? For every concept, I'm asking you any doubts or any queries. If you are having confusion, why can't you ask the doubts to Sunil Kumar? And for offline also, why you are not asking the doubts first of all? The concept is not clear, you can ask me. I'll explain one more time. And one more thing. Each concept, I'll explain at least 2 to 3 times. I'll never explain one concept one time. Correct or not? From the day one itself. Okay. So that means you are saying it is enough for today, right? Okay. And you can do the deployment of rolling also. Like, okay, fine, you said it is enough for it. We'll see it next time. How to roll out the deployment. For Kubernetes, I'll suggest official documentation, Sunil. Like that is the only thing I can suggest. Books means like not. I'll suggest official documentation for every tool. Yes, Anuradha, definitely we can't maintain multiple cluster. Why? Because each cluster will have at least 5 nodes. If you want to make 4 different clusters, it is going to be very hectic for you on real time. For a project, you'll be having only one cluster. Cost you can check it from here. Well, I'll tell you it. T2 medium, right? You were asking. T2 medium. If you can see here, click on this one. It will show you the cost and everything billing. Or you see the pricing here? If you use on demand, you'll be paying $0.046 per hour. But if you use RHL, Red Hat Linux, you need to pay almost $0.1. And it is for Windows. For Windows, it is 0.06. For if it is OpenSUSE, 0.1416. For OpenSUSE and RHL will be high price, but on demand like Linux, Amazon Linux will be very less price. Hope it is clear for Anuradha. Sir, I think 8 days is some little bit. It's not you think, it's in general really Kubernetes is very difficult. Okay. Even I am telling you, na, in real time also, we face a lot of issue with Kubernetes. Why? Because Kubernetes itself is difficult. Still we have some time. If you want any doubts or any queries, you can ask. Yep, please. Hmm. Sorry. Repeat. No. It won't available. We need to create our custom. We need to create. This is one or another one also difficult. No, only this one. DevOps coaching certificate. Just contact Naresh IT is Sai Gautam after your course is done. Okay. Contact admins. Yes, Sunil, tell me. Let's take an example of creating pod with more than one container. Okay. Till now, we have taken one container per pod. If you have time, now you can please show me how to configure more than one pod intake container. Okay, fine. Basically, if you want to configure more than one container in a pod, there is a concept called uh, multi-container pods. So you need to use init container, ambassador, adapter, or sidecar. These are the concepts I'll show you. If I type here just multi-container pods, there is some designing pattern for it. Sunil, just go to the official documentation. Or you can refer this one. See, we want to create multi-container pods. Are you seeing this one? Name and image. Again, name and image. So like this, you can be able to see multi-container pods for it. Again, the configuration will be the same. Okay, you need to do anything. You want me to show? Like, let me take. Let's create the basic pod here. Vim.yml. All of you know how to write the pod configuration, right? Hyphen image. Let's take Nginx image now. Any image you can take, okay, it doesn't matter. Name, container 2. So if you see here, 0 by 2, are you seeing this one? Containers are on which state? One container got created. And what happened to second container? It got error. Let's discuss why it got error. Cube color or kubectl. Describe pod 1. You can see the errors like this. It is telling that successfully pulled Nginx, it's fine. But why it got crashed off? Back off means wait. Pulling kubelet, pulling of image Nginx. Container 2 got created. Container 2 got started. Okay. Fine. Successfully image pulled Nginx in 159. Okay. Back off restarting. Or 1 second. Let me use the image name. VM. Basically, in there is a concept actually for this. Sunil. There's a container designing pattern for pod designing pattern where we use init container sidecar parent to create all of this. But let me show you. Don't delete it. This is the way how you can work with it. So basically what here done is here just to given the name, and after that image we have given. So image and name, like you can give whatever you want. It doesn't matter for you. And but here I need to run for multiple things, right? You need to better performing some things. Kubectl, color. Pod 1. Color. Get PO. So if you see in pod 1, you will be having one container that is ready, but second one is not ready. Why? Because it is having the error called image like crash loop back off. I'll show you what it is. Are you seeing this image? Back off. That means whenever you are not able to pull the image from it, so it is going to get the back off. But don't worry, if you use the correct image, it is going to work for you. So this used for init container, sidecar, and ambassador. Okay, these are the concept for multi-container pods in Kubernetes. Who asked this question? Sunil. If you want me to show like one more thing, I'll show this for your reference. Go here and type multi-container pod designing in K8s. If you type this, you can see. Are you seeing sidecar pattern? Are you seeing adapter? And are you seeing ambassador? So this is nothing but the way how you can create the multi-container pods in the Kubernetes. This we use for log collection and like to install some predefined work for the containers, which before start the application. For these kind of works, we use this one in general. Hope it is clear for you, Sunil. Yeah, fine. Great. So still any queries from you, online and offline? Yeah, definitely Venkatesh. Why? Because project can be monolithic and project can be microservice. It doesn't matter. If it is monolithic, no need to use Kubernetes. If it is microservice, use Kubernetes. Hope it is clear for you. Okay, then fine. If you don't have any doubts or queries, you can wrap the session today. Online. So one more last time. Any doubts or any queries from your end? If you don't have anything, we can wrap it up. And offline from you too. Any doubts or any queries? Then are we good for today? Okay, then fine. So advance happy new year for all of you. So let's meet on Tuesday's class. Have a great day, great weekend. Bye all.